Mike Reed in the studio, and joining me today are Ken Toll, President and CEO of the United Way of Jackson County, and Kaitlyn Stein, Coordinator of the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative. Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
Morning, Mike.
Thanks for coming in. It always pleases me to do a person-to-person interview. I do a lot of interviews over the phone, and I got to say it every time it happens. I prefer to see a smiling face across the table from me, and just makes things a little more cozy as far as I'm concerned. Mm-hmm. I'm glad you could join me this morning. Now, recently, and we did a report on this just last week, I think, the big news was that numbers went way down, and we jumped from like 78th out of 83 counties to 40-something. So we know teen pregnancy is one of those topics that people don't talk much about, but the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative is all about bringing that topic out of the shadows. Is that right?
That is correct. And I think that is one of the common misconceptions, is that teens and their parents don't want to talk about sex. But what we really try and do at TPPI is to bring that kind of conversation to the forefront and provide opportunities for dialogue so that questions can be answered and that we can promote understanding of teens and teen sexuality and have an open and honest conversation about teen pregnancy.
Very good. Very good. Now, it seems to me parents often want to talk to their kids about sex, and it's just the kids don't want to imagine that their parents ever had sex.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assumption. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was the impetus for creating this? What was the big drive to create the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative?
Yeah, United Way got involved with this about 10 years ago, Mike. We were looking at the data. You know, we always try to figure out what are the biggest needs in the community. Mm-hmm. And we kept running across this figure that we were really struggling with teen pregnancy. It was a big issue. And if you untangle that, you realize it leads to all kinds of other problems. We all know teen moms who have been really successful at raising their kids and done a fantastic job, but they'll all tell you it was hard. It'd be much easier with a partner. And for everyone that does succeed, there are some who don't. And those kids are much more likely to end up drawing on welfare their whole lives, suffering educational deficits, not getting all the way through school and reaching their full potential. Many end up going to prison or having other struggles, and we know that we can do better than that. So when United Way saw the data, we reached out to the health department and said, we know this is a really tough problem, but you've been leading on this for a while. How can we help? And the health department said, we're about to lose a grant, but we're really excited about some of these things we put in place, and if United Way can keep this going, we think we can build a real initiative. So we came together, built a collaborative, started funding Kaitlyn and her crew there to develop a community plan and work it. And as we've seen year after year, we started chipping away at those numbers, and we've gotten down to the point now where we're about the state average instead of being one of the very worst.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent. You know, and you say it like it's an everyday thing, and it probably is for you, but to look and see a problem and say, what can we do about it? That's the United Way all over.
It is. It's a great model. We don't have any other restrictions other than what can the community support and how do we use their dollars to solve the biggest problems. And people told us 10 years ago, stay away from teen pregnancy. It's really, really hard. It's so complex. You're not going to show results. People said, do the easy stuff. And our United Way board said, no, we're going to take this on. This is a huge problem. It'll have tremendous benefits if we can improve it. And I'm really proud that we've stuck with it this long and are seeing the results we are now.
Excellent. Excellent. So who was involved with the United Way in forming this?
Well, back in 2006, we worked directly with the health department, and we brought together a coalition of other folks. We brought together nonprofit groups, schools got engaged, a lot of different health department programs came on board, and we sort of said, how do we work a community-wide plan? Uh-huh. And the health department, Kaitlyn's crew, was ready for that question. They said, we've got a lot of extra things we'd like to be doing. We just haven't had the resources yet. So by building a strategic plan, something that everyone could read and see their role in, it became very easy to build a coalition of folks who came along and said, yeah, I work with kids, I can do this, or yeah, I can open up my church after school to do this kind of program. All kinds of opportunities arose once the dialogue started.
And I think one of the other big thing that came out of that was the formation of our Teen Advisory Council. Uh-huh. So a lot of what we do with the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative is use local teens from Jackson County to help drive programs that are important to them. as TPPI, or as the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative, we get funding from some state grants, and we evaluate those per the state requirements, and that's all great. We get a lot of good outcomes from that. But what we see really here locally in Jackson, and that we get to use those kids to say, what is important to you, and what do you need to hear, and what kind of supports do you need? And that really lets us have some great local impacts.
Right.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier, Mike, that a lot of kids don't want to even think about sex when they're looking at their parents.
Right.
What we know is that kids talk to each other, and if they don't have good information, they make it up, and that can be very disastrous. So this program, equipping teens to be peer leaders, to share with other teens, has proven really, really effective. They listen and they believe much more than they would from somebody much older, I think.
Now, I imagine that you do the work at the school level because you've got them. They can't go anywhere. They're captives. Is that where the main effort goes to? Is that how TPPI works?
We're a little bit of both. We do a lot of work within the schools, but we also do a lot of community-based work as well. One of the biggest things that we do is a community awareness campaign called Pregnancy is Not Our Legacy. And so that really allows us to go out and host community events, to do community awareness, and we definitely do some of that work within schools, but it allows us to be a little bit more broad.
Very good. Now, can you tell me a little bit about the I Wish videos? I've heard about that. I want to know more.
Sure. So one of the things that we hear over and over from teens is that it's really powerful to hear stories from teens themselves about things that they've experienced. And so what the I Wish video does is it took local teens who have experienced a teen pregnancy, who are either currently pregnant or are teen parents, and it really lets them kind of share their own life story, to talk about the struggles that they went through, what their experiences were, telling their parents that they were pregnant, what it was like to finish education if they were able to finish education. So it's about a 35-minute video that explores the lives of a couple of local teens and their experience with teen pregnancy. And what we do is we use that video to go into different schools and do different community events to show it. And then we're also able to a lot of times bring in some teen parents for a live panel. So if kids are watching this in the audience and say, I really want to know a question about this, that they're able to hear from the teen parents themselves, person to person, and answer some individualized questions.
I went to the first screening of that. We produced the video, and we reached out to schools to say, will you show this to your students? And some were more excited about it than others, actually. But Jackson Public was the first brave school to step up and say, we want to show this. So they convened an all-school assembly, and I went and sat there, and it was really interesting. Kids are filing in. There's a lot of disruption and a lot of noise. Kids are goofing off, as they do. And the video started, and probably within 2 minutes, you could hear a pin drop. Nobody was moving. And about 2 minutes later, kids started crying. It was so moving to them to realize, how wrong they were in their perception, and to hear the stories of their peers, what it really was like. It was an eye-opener, and I was just blown away by the power of that video, that kids were literally in tears watching
that's
it.
Something.
And now I think it's been shown in every school, right? Pretty much every district, I think, in the county.
Yeah, very close
video.
too.
Very good. Well, now, and this has created results in the school, in the community, both together. You've got drastic results.
Oh, absolutely. So what we can rely on is data from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services release what are called vital statistics. And we've been tracking this data for quite some time. And what we have known is that from 2003, when we really started paying attention to teen pregnancy as an issue here, up until 2015, which is when the latest data came out, we have seen a 58%, decrease in the teen pregnancy rate. So it went from 78.4% down to 33%.
Wow.
Yes. And so that does, they rank counties. There are 83 counties in Michigan. And so that puts Jackson County at 48th for teen pregnancy.
When we used to be 76th or something like that.
Yep. We used to be, how we think about it is we were in the top 10, which sounds like a good thing, but it isn't. We wanted to be low. So where we're at now, it's very, very, very good.
Well, that's just excellent. I'm overwhelmed. And I can only imagine, the effort and work that it's taken to achieve those results. But you people have done it. That's wonderful. What are you going to do next?
Yeah, well, that proves the United Way, right? That when we all band together, no matter how big a problem is, if we get a bunch of smart people around a table and a bunch of committed people who are willing to do some work, we can fix that problem. So we are thrilled with the results as well.
Excellent.
What's next is how do we keep taking this to scale? It's great that we've reduced from the worst in the state, near the worst, to the middle of the pack, but we want to be the best in the pack, right? Mm-hmm. So we're not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to keep working this program. United Way is thrilled to keep supporting the health department and keep supporting these teen peers and multiple iterations of the video. If it's working, we'll keep doing it, and we keep looking for new strategies to enhance it as well. And when we look at our United Way mission about poverty, this fits right in with that, because generational poverty often starts with a teenage mother. So
right.
Every one of those that we prevent is one more notch in our belt towards creating a more financially stable community.
Excellent. I'm so impressed. Now, if our listeners want to find out more about the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative, how do they go about doing that?
They can visit our website at www.tppijackson, all one word, .org.
Excellent. And, of course, there's also the United Way website.
Absolutely. UWJackson.org has updates about teen pregnancy and poverty. And, of course, we have a Donate Now button. It is a season. We're running our United Way campaign right now, and the past gifts from all of our donors enabled us to get where we are. So we hope people continue supporting United Way so we can keep working TPPI and do some additional things around poverty that will just keep building towards a better future for all of us.
Excellent. The campaign in full swing now?
In full swing. Consumers Energy has already done their thing. It took them about 2 weeks to get all their employees on board, and school districts are all done. Several other companies are just getting started. So we are in full swing mode.
Very good. Well, I encourage everybody to get to that website, uwjackson.org, and press that donate button and contribute, because it makes a difference. It helps the community.
A huge difference. We are so proud of the results we're achieving with our community dollars. There's no better way to spend your charitable giving than the United Way.
All right. Well, once again, I really appreciate you folks coming in today. It's been a pleasure, and I know more than I did 10 minutes ago.
We succeeded.
Very good.
Thanks for coming in. I've been speaking with Kaitlyn Stein, coordinator of the Teen Pregnancy Prevention Initiative, and Ken Toll, president and CEO of United Way of Jackson County.